Chairman now yields himself, let's see, next 6 hours? You notice how no one, they're just not sure.
We're at your disposal.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to give myself just a couple of minutes because I really want to come back. Yeah, you talked about your comments starting to light up when you did some of the Muni regs. Well, so did my email, and on many different levels. One of the questions that was coming at me was, from the folks that are already, broker-dealers, investment advisors in the banking world, they're regulated. What will the proposed rules, and how will it touch those folks? And then there's the other side of that, proposed rules and where you think it's going to go in regards to influence of a municipality to go out and bond or do a defeasance or these sorts of things. And I'm going to start with Mr. Cook, and we'll move around to who has something to share.
Well, the proposed definition does have carve-outs for certain other regulated entities like investment advisors and the like. But that's, the area of overlap is something that we will have to be sensitive to. I know one issue that's been raised, for example, is that banks who are holding deposits for municipalities, just cash deposits, have said, expressed concern that the definition of municipal advisor would include their investing that cash deposit. And so that's an issue we're focusing on and talking to other regulators about. And an example, I think, of the point you're raising, that there may be overlapping regulation and therefore not a need to impose a new regime on certain sorts of entities.
It's Mr. Cook, and I know you guys are going through sort of the modeling of what is the rule, but in my experience of having been a county treasurer, okay, over here I have the law firm that's also doing some of the advising to the municipality. Okay, on the same side, somewhere on the other side of the Chinese wall, you may have lawyers that are also representing the property owners or some of the others that may be part of that general obligation. Over here I have the law firm that's helping move the money around, but what if that law firm was also providing certain other banking services? I know we have a web here where a lot of these folks are touching each other, and I have a real concern if this is really a discussion about budget. How do you guys write rules that are effective and work at the same time also don't blow up your budget and make you have to come back to us and say, please, we need more resources?
Well, I'll take a stab at that. I think it's a challenge, but I think what it means is that we need to be very thoughtful, and I think the tools we have are the comment process, which is enormously important to help identify issues that may be raised by the rules that we've proposed, taking the time we need to get it right, and frankly, a sense of humility about what we know and what we don't know. And I think those are some of the levers we have to try to make sure that as we, given the resource constrained environment we're in and the obligation nevertheless to promulgate certain rules, that we strike the right balance.
Anyone else wish to touch this one? Give me, and we'll try to finish up here in the next couple of minutes so you can at least go get some lunch. Share with me what you think is the biggest crisis within that market, within the muni market and the folks providing the advice. How big of a distortion do we have?
Well, I think I think we've seen some instances, and I don't know if there may be some on the enforcement side. But you mean what are the
problem we're trying to fix?
Yeah, I think that the concern is that people who would be advising municipalities about both the issuance of their securities and the products that they could invest the proceeds in are not subject to oversight now in the same way that advisors to you or me or anyone else providing similar sorts of investment advice are. And that can lead to concerns such as conflicts of interest, whose interests are they really acting in. I believe that was the policy rationale behind the act.
In that case, and just having spent some time in this world, I saw some issuances, actually they were, I think, defeasances at the time, where the fees were pretty close to almost what was being saved. So in that case, as you're doing the rulemaking, in many ways it is, how do you get back to who's actually receiving compensation? and, you know, the motivations there and the disclosures that come with that. And I don't know if that creates a much more narrow cast. My fear was you get the bad guys, but don't do something that blows up your budget, because now you're touching so many people that are, you know, 2 or 3 off.
Right, and it's not just our budget, it's the costs imposed on those people who weren't intended to be covered by the statute.
All right. Anyone else have something that they're burning to share? You have been a wonderfully cooperative group. And actually, what you do is absolutely fascinating. You know, being a freshman member, reading all the things you touch, and some of it's impossible. And I'm not sure it's necessarily money-based, as the scale of the markets seem to change and move faster than often we can ever catch them. And that's why my fixation on you having data mining abilities, because in many ways this may be about technology and data, and not necessarily the old shoe leather world of regulations. And trying to convince some of my brothers and sisters around here that, you know, it's time to step into the next century of technology. With that, the chair notes that some members may have additional questions for this panel, which they may wish to submit in writing. Without objections, the hearing record will remain open for 30 days for the members to submit written questions to these witnesses and to place their responses in the record. Thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.